What's up, people? It is me, man, Mr. B, and today I just want to kind of reintroduce myself to you guys, my audience. Want to just use the opportunity as well to thank you for sticking with me over the time. But I want to talk about uh, a love that I have had for years and only occasionally make the best use of it. And of course, now I'm looking to do that even more, and that is my love for writing. For the record, I have published a number of works, but have not really made a lot of noise with it. And so today we want to kind of just shine the spotlight on that aspect, my writing. I have a couple of books that are out. This would have been my first novel, Sheila, and we're going to talk about that. And especially since I have only this week launched a follow-up to Sheila called Unbroken, Sheila 2.0, and we're going to talk about that as well. But let me give you a little bit of background. Now, Sheila 2.0, as I said, is a follow-up to Sheila, or as some would refer to it as a sequel. But where did this writing thing come from? Now, this is something I've been doing for a while. Back in my days in school in the mid to late 70s, and my sojourn to work at the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Library in Kingston, right out of high school. I, having gotten involved with books galore. I mean, in a library, it's like you're in heaven if you love reading, and yeah, reading is something that I love. So I gravitated over time to writing down my thoughts, and then somewhere in that mid 1970s period, I decided to enter the Literary Arts Festival, and I entered a couple of times. I've garnered one bronze medal and 2 silver medals for literary creations, and then just basically kept following up. Wrote a couple of plays for my high school. I did sixth form at Camperdown, which won an award for, not for the script, but I think it was for best costume, and got some mention as well. And so I have kind of stuck with this, writing more opinion pieces, until a few years ago I decided, let me tell a story. It was a little thing that hit me, that we don't have a lot of us as Jamaicans who write our stories. We see the problem with the music, where a lot of people come to Jamaica and then talk to 1 or 2 people and then go away as if to say they are experts on Jamaica and Jamaican music. But the best people to tell Jamaican stories are Jamaicans. And if you have an ability, any kind of aptitude for doing that, my thing is, go ahead and do it. And so I took the plunge. And so about less than 10 years ago, I wrote this book called Sheila. Let me pull up this thing here. And what is Sheila about? The book was about a young girl. When we're talking about, we want to talk about stories that basically looks at who we are as Jamaicans, and we can use as examples for other Jamaicans to look up to. And so out of that thinking came the story of Sheila. Now, Sheila is a young girl, grew up in Kingston in the early 1970s, where she lived at 33 Lane, which is off Walton Park Road. Now, again, this is a fictional story, must point that out. But it looks at the opportunities that are presented to 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 our people, or the lack of opportunity, and how Jamaicans have this capacity to, once they get a look in, they're gonna make full use of whatever those opportunities are. And yeah, we get beat up and we beat up each other when we don't do so good. We, Jamaica have a big reputation about crime and violence. But Jamaica also have a huge reputation of ordinary Jamaicans who have made good with the very little opportunities that they were presented with. And so Sheila, otherwise the book is as a dual title, is Sheila, the girl from the lane. But Sheila, for a young girl who come out of 33 lane, went to high school, went to Excelsior, if I remember, Excelsior, and like a young boy in Excelsior who was on the track team, caught her eye, and pretty soon them get together. Babsy Seiko, she pregnant, and her mother kick her out of the house, and not only that, she moved in with this young boy right out of school, and Babsy Seiko, she pregnant again, and two picnic. No job, no education, and circumstances shifted on her because the young fella get himself into some issues and left her on her own. And so Sheila is about the courage of a young girl who decided that she got an opportunity and she took it with both hands. And really, gripping story. The story focuses on the political and economic situation in Jamaica at the time, and is told through the eyes of this young girl, Sheila Salmon. And Sheila would eventually find her way into a nice little job where she moved from that job, went to school, sent herself to university, and basically pulled herself up by her bootstraps. The story looks at how the different components of the Jamaican society, people from the quote unquote divide. The people talk about the two Jamaicas. When you read this novel, Sheila, you recognize that there are more than two Jamaicas, and it depends on where you are. You are measured, your opportunities that you get, the way how the society, relate to you, is essentially a function of where you're coming from. To Farmer George, yes, the original copy is now available in paperback. In fact, this let me bring this back up here. It's easy to acquire. Here is a paperback. I just got 50 copies yesterday of the original Sheila. Let me bring that up here. This is a paperback copy, Farmer George, and I also got 250 copies of Sheila 2.0. So Sheila, the girl from the lane, is available on paperback. It's available on Amazon.com. It is available on my website at yaadmedia.com. That's YAADD media.com. And of course, if you're buying on the website, if you're buying here, all you really need to do is just send me a text message, and I'll give you instructions as to how to acquire it. I will have that. All right. Well, Farmer George, I will send that off to you this evening. In fact, the copy of each, and of course, they just sell me $50 to my telephone number, Yard Media, you will see come up as, and I'll get that out to you so that you can get them in time. I will autograph them as well. Tell me who to autograph it to, and consider that done. Now, Sheila 2.0 is a continuation of the story. The character that I created with Sheila was a huge success. It showed that it's not where you start, but how you finish. And so, if ever there was an illustration of taking your life in your hands and moving with it, that's what this book is all about. And so, Sheila 2.0 now went beyond that. It looked at after she had gotten herself set in Jamaica as a businesswoman, what the next steps were. And in Unbroken, here is a more mature Sheila. Her kids are now, her two kids have, progressed. She sent them off to school by herself, and they were now making their own path. But beyond that, she recognized that, hey, not only do I have not only do I belong in this sphere of Jamaica and its economic development, but I am not just good at what I do, I'm excellent. I am going to demonstrate that resilience, and I'm going to establish myself as a significant player in the Jamaican economic sphere. Now, the story, of course, moves between Jamaica and the United States of America. As we say, you're writing your Jamaican stories. You want to write stories based on, and yes, Farmer George, we will link up after the show. Writing Jamaican stories, we want to write about the things that we are familiar with. Again, too often, what we do as Jamaicans is that we allow others to come and write our stories, and at the end of the day, it's not our story. It is, there are, as I'm saying, history, his story, and so are her story, and that's not what we want to do. We want to tell Jamaicans. We want to use the experiences that we all grew up with and write about, our experiences, our successes, our failures. Remember, life is not about failing. You try something and it don't work, ease off and come again. It's not about how much time you fall down. It's about how much time you get up and where you proceed to having gotten up. And so Sheila 2.0 speaks to that. The character, here is a woman, strong, self-developed. Let me read a little snippet of Sheila going to a bank to look about some financing, because she is deciding to move her business to another level. She made have a nice little nest egg that she put aside, but she recognized that if you have the wherewithal where you can use other people's money, you're still going to be responsible for it, having carved out a niche for herself. So she's taking those steps. The Bank of Credit and Commerce ranked at number 3 among the quietly expanding list of commercial banks in Jamaica. They operated through more than 20 branches across the island, half a dozen of which were in Kingston. Its parent company was, like its main competitor, Scotia, based in Canada, and like its Canadian-owned counterpart, its operations were governed by the strictures set by its owners. Banks were very profitable concerns, and the Canadians enjoyed the repatriated profits that these offshore entities pumped into their consolidated balance sheets on an annual basis. The New Kingston branch sat on the corner of Knutsford Boulevard and Grenada Road, in the heart of the New Kingston business district. It was 10:15 a.m. when Sheila Salmon mounted the 5 steps that elevated the Bank of Credit and Commerce on Knutsford Boulevard in New Kingston from the sidewalk foot traffic. One of the uniformed security guards at the entrance saw her as she mounted the steps and held the door open for her. His smile was welcoming enough, she thought, as she slipped her car keys into her handbag. She was toting a leading-edge laptop computer in its black carrying case slung over her shoulder. Despite its weight, she walked with a strong posture, head high, shoulders back, and her chest out, betraying a hint of her full bosom, albeit completely closeted by her crisp white cotton blouse, caressed by the bolero-style jacket of her grey pinstripe suit. Her 6-inch heeled black leather pump was the perfect companion for her coal black hair that she had rolled into a tight bun. She wore extraordinarily little makeup other than her crimson-colored lip, which gave way to perfectly formed pearly white teeth as she smiled with both security guards on entering the banking hall. Sheila made her way to the receptionist, feeling the weight of more than 30 pair of eyes drinking in her every move. "Good morning, ma'am. How can I help you?" the young receptionist chirped. "Good morning to you too," Sheila replied. "I have a 10:30 with Mr. Francis. Just a moment. And your name is?" She was consulting her diary as she spoke. "Sheila Salmon. And yours?" "Winsome Barnes." "If you could just give me a moment." She had completed her check of the schedule and handed Sheila a clipboard with a bank appointment form for her to complete. "I will let the secretary know you're here. As soon as you have completed the form, I'll have someone take you over," Winsome replied. She settled into the waiting area and quickly completed the questionnaire, which was retrieved by the receptionist. She sat cross-legged on a comfortable burgundy tile fabric sofa, observing the snaking queue of customers awaiting customer service. A role she experienced often enough for her own business. Her wait was not long, however, as she soon heard a familiar voice calling her name. "Miss Salmon," the voice called out. It was loud enough to get her attention. It was Natalie Jones. She escorted Sheila to the manager's office, tapping twice on the closed door. "Come in," said the response. Chris Foster was on his feet the moment the door opened. He adjusted his jacket and immediately extended a hand in greeting. "Well, good morning, Miss Salmon," he stated. "It is so good to see you. I believe you have met Mrs. Valerie Dugan, the branch's assistant manager, before, have you?" he asked as he motioned to her. Valerie, who had been sitting at a small conference table poring over Sheila's printed proposal, was on her feet and held out her hand in greeting. "Yes, we have met before," Valerie responded, as she quickly noted Sheila's immaculate appearance. Foster motioned Sheila towards the conference table where they all seated themselves. So here is Sheila Salmon in the heart, the belly of the beast, the banking system. And, you know, without giving too much of it, and just setting the stage. Here is a person who at one time would never even had an opportunity to see the insides of a commercial bank. And here she is, meeting with bank executives of one of the premier commercial banks in Jamaica, just to give you an idea. Again, Sheila 2.0 takes a look at how one person, having gotten an opportunity, is able to build on it. Sheila had opened her own boutique, and in the first book, and the story ended where she had established her own boutique and is now on her own. Sheila 2.0 is her expanding her operations to stores not only in Kingston, in Portmore, and across the island as far as Montego Bay, of her taking her chances, dealing with the growing criminality that is Jamaica and the characters that are formed out of that, of her taking on, you know, the whole international commercial affairs, while having to grapple with the whole business of parenting of adolescent kids in a Jamaica where the social and economic fabric of the society is constantly changing. Don't want to give too much away, but I'm going to invite you to grab yourself a copy of this. It says here, Sheila Salmon is no longer just a girl from the lane. She's a woman on a mission. And in this gripping sequel to Sheila, the girl from the lane, Sheila rises from the ashes of betrayal and injustice, transformed by hardships that fueled by a newfound resolve. With a wrongful dismissal behind her and a hard-won settlement in hand, she sets out to claim the future that she was once denied. Set against the rich cultural tapestry and political turbulence of Jamaica in the late 1980s and 1990s, Unbroken charts Sheila's bold transformation from a wounded soul to a formidable force in business and society, as she stakes her claim in Kingston's chaotic markets, the booming tourism corridors of Montego Bay and Negril, and the unforgiving streets of New York City. Sheila must confront not only the risk of entrepreneurship, but also the shadows of her past. When Tony, the charismatic and complicated father of her children, reappears, the line between past love and present ambition blurs. His return threatens to upend the fragile balance she has worked so hard to create. At the same time, Sheila finds herself caught in the rising tide of Jamaica's criminal underworld, where survival demands more than just courage, it demands cunning. Unbroken, Sheila's 2.0 is a powerful, sweeping saga of grit, reinvention, and the unbreakable spirit of a woman determined to build a legacy on her own terms. Fast-paced, emotionally rich, and unflinchingly honest, this is Sheila's story as you've never heard or seen it before. Bolder, wiser, and more relentless than ever. I am going to encourage you all to grab a copy, all right? There are several ways to purchase Sheila 2.0 or to purchase the original copy. My recommendation, if you have not read the first copy, the first book, you want to grab both copies for yourselves. $50 gets you, if you're living here in the United States, gets you both copies, and it covers the cost of shipping as well. They are $25 each, which covers shipping cost. And this is kind of a sort of a pre-release, and these pre-release copies are going to come to you hand signed by myself, and we can get them off to you. We still have a few days to get them. If you're looking for something, a great Mother's Day gift, it's a good, this would be an excellent gift for Mother's Day. And if you're here in the US, you should be able to get that by Saturday if you place your order today. So let me encourage you to grab yourselves copies. Sheila and Sheila 2.0. That's Sheila, the girl from the lane. And it's available in paperback. I should point out that both novels are also available on Amazon as an ebook, so you can always you can always pick that up. But if you want to have an autographed copy, here's a good opportunity to pick it up. You're buying on Amazon, it's not going to be autographed. You purchase here on the website, or by just sending me a little note, you know, on Facebook, or you can also text me at 954-773-6001, and I'll be sure to, more than happy to get you your copy. That's all we're gonna have for the rest for the afternoon as far as this is concerned. Just wanna, you know, ask you to help us get this on the move. As you get a copy, share with your friends, right? Go on the website or on the Amazon page and you can leave your feedback as well. But looking for your continued support with getting this out there. Again, join me a little later on this evening as we pick up our usual discussion. That should be around 7 o'clock this evening. We're going to look at some domestic issues back home as Jamaica heads down the political straight. In terms of elections, we want to look at what's happening with the police. We're looking at the falling issue of crime and the criminal numbers. Jamaica experienced its lowest murder total in more than 25 years last month. We're going to talk about all of those as well. We're going to talk about the perception of the Jamaicans for justice and its relationship with the police. Just a couple of the topics we're going to be looking at. Until such time, check out Unbroken, check out Sheila on the website yaadmedia.com. That's YAAWD media.com, MEDIA, and just look for if you buying on the website, you just want to go to shop and click on the all products, and you're basically on your way. Or you can go Amazon.com, or just simply send me a text message, an inbox message on Facebook, or even on YouTube, and we will get you set up. Again, thanks for your time. More time.